we're not yet complete in the audience, I guess, but in order to make room for today's discussion, we will start already. So a warm welcome to everyone from the Israeli Trade Mission here in Berlin. We're very happy to have a great audience from Germany and from Israel, of course, but also from other European countries and even further abroad. My name is Steffgen. I work as a trade officer here and I'm responsible for the logistics and maritime solutions. And before we get started with today's exciting topic, I will shortly introduce our office as well as our partners. We are the Israeli Economic and Trade Mission, and we are the outer branch of the Israeli Ministry of Economy and Industry in Jerusalem. We are part of a worldwide network of 45 trade missions, and we help Israeli companies enter the local markets and spread the word of Israeli innovation in all sectors. We also offer scouting for Israeli innovation for any German company interested. And we even deliver this service for free as we are a publicly funded institution. So to the audience already now, please feel free to approach us anytime. Before introducing today's agenda, let me thank our partners that made this event possible. First of all, our dear colleagues from the Israel Export Institute. Nofar is here representing them today. It's always a pleasure to work with you. Then we would like to say thank you to Petra Lüdicke from BHV, the Bremen Ports and Logistics Agency. They helped also spread the word, and we're very happy to welcome people from the ports ecosystem in Bremen as well. What can you expect today? After a crisp keynote by Gadi Benmoshe from Marinnovators, we will listen to two panels. The first one will be moderated by Gartzman from the dock innovation and feature Snowless as well as Airobotics. In the second panel, we will listen to the companies WaveBL, Freightools and STI. Moderator is industry veteran Sven from Hamburg Port Consulting. Warm welcome, Sven. Thank you very much for being with us today. And great thank you to all our panelists, moderators, and of course our keynote speaker for being here today. We're very much looking forward to the event. Before starting with the keynote, please welcome Ester Elias, commercial consul at the Israel Trade Mission here in Berlin. She will also say some welcoming words.
Yeah, so after making such a nice introduction, I will be very, very short. So first of all, thank you, Simon, for hosting us today and for making this event possible. I just wanted to say that, we were searching and researching this topic of ports and how we can cooperate between the Israeli industry and the German economy for the last year. And after understanding the need from one side and the abilities and the technologies on the other side, we understood that there is a great potential. So this event is just the first one out of series that we're planning to have with the ports in Germany. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the partners that are helping us. And also we would like to encourage you to network through the event. So you can approach, if you heard anything that's interesting for you, just approach the people. And if you didn't manage to do it through the event, let us know. We will be more than happy to make the connection afterwards. And I think we can start. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Esther. And without further ado, Gadi, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Simon. And I wish to thank the Israel Trade Mission in Berlin and the Israel Export Institute for inviting me to speak here. I have a few German colleagues, and they are very innovative, and I hope that we will give them another angle of innovation in the maritime domain. So let's start by sharing my screen. So what I want to talk with you today is about the maritime innovation ecosystem in Israel. Again, as I said, in Germany there is a great innovation teams in the maritime domain, but I hope that I will share some light on how we look at innovation in Israel. So first of all, Marinnovators, we give a consulting service of digital transformation, innovation, and cybersecurity, mainly for port authorities, port operators, and maritime tech startups. I have some activity with international organizations, mainly in the last year with the IAPH, International Association of Ports and Harbors, Data Collaboration Committee, with which we have some groups that develop cybersecurity and innovation guidelines. The cybersecurity guidelines were published last year, and we hope that we will do it for the during this year, the innovation guidelines for ports. I'm also expert for UN CEFAC, International Port Community System Association, and WEF and ISO. All of my knowledge in port, it's by being lately, until recently, I was the CIO of Israel Ports Company, where I spent my last 15 years. So first of all, I would like to share with you, if we are talking about the ecosystem, I would like to share with you which ports we have in Israel. We have in a number of areas. In the Haifa area, we have Haifa Port, Israel Shipyard Port, and in 2021, we inaugurated a new port. It's called the Bay Port, and this will be operated by SIPG, the Chinese company. In the Mediterranean, most south, we have the Ashdod area, and there we have Ashdod Port, and since 2021, we have also South Port that is operated by TIL. Both in Eilat, we have in the Red Sea, we have one port, it's called Eilat Port. Two of the ports are still state-owned, Haifa Port and Ashdod Port. But Haifa Port, since the middle of 2021, started a privatization process. And we hope that until the end of this year, this process will be finished, and then this port will be, this terminal will be privatized. The regulator of the ports in Israel is the Administration of Shipping and Ports, and the landlord of the ports in Israel is Israel Ports Company, Development and Assets. This company develops the physical infrastructure, but also the digital infrastructure for making a more efficient maritime trade. And this is by developing the Israeli port community system, that with this system, 99% of the processes in the maritime supply chain in Israel are paperless and digital. But this is the working environment in the ports in Israel. And now let's talk about the innovation ecosystem. I believe that the ecosystem in innovation is the catalyst for the new technologies implementation. So let's see who takes part in the Israeli maritime innovation. First of all, we have from the government companies authority, which through this authority, the Israeli government encourages the companies to be an active factor in innovation, and by doing a number of steps. To the Israeli government expects the companies, the state-owned companies, to define effective innovation mechanisms in the organizational level, to constantly integrate innovation in the activities of the company, to implement new technologies, and also to invest in startups. But this is the less important. What, in my opinion, is the most important, it's that each of the state-owned companies has national infrastructure that can help these startups for developing their solutions. And this is, I think, the most important thing why state-owned companies shall be part of this ecosystem and contribute. There's another institute in the government level that encourage innovation, and this is the Israeli Innovation Authority that also helps in each domain to do more innovation. But this is the general. If we are looking at the ports, Israel Ports Company is one of the drivers of innovation, and they do it in a number of activities. And we can find with those activities also the collaboration with the academy. Israel Ports Company is one of the owners of an academical institute together with a leading university in Israel. This company is called CAMERI. It's Coastal and Maritime Engineering and Research Institute. That there are a number of patent pending solutions for ports for a lot of aspects that can help the ports. Of course, that the terminal operators are also important players, and I will elaborate on that in a minute. One of the main and most advanced integrating innovation in the terminals of Israel is the Ashdod port. And startups accelerators, we have in Israel one leading that you will hear near today, the dock. It's dedicated to maritime tech companies. But recently also Ariely Capital is another venture capital company that entered this field. And ports, it's not only operating a port, you also have a lot of constructions in ports. So there is also an accelerator for construction companies called Contact. And also it's very interesting to see these solutions also for the maritime domain. And last but not least, a lot of startups company in the maritime, and part of them you will hear from them today, and a few others I will mention in my presentation. So innovation, what I want to elaborate more, it's about the activities of Ashdod Port, as I said before. Ashdod Port today have two main activities. One of them is call for startups to do pilots in this terminal premises. And this standard that they have is with the option to, after the pilot, to purchase the products of this startup company, or to purchase the company shares, as I said before, as part of the government resolution that we have. But recently, Ashdod Port also started with cooperation with the 500 Global, the very leading company, for making an accelerator for early startups in the maritime domain. When we talk about innovation, of course, we are talking about advanced technologies, and I'm sure that you all know that when we're talking about innovation, we talk about 5G, about blockchain, about IoT, about AI. Between you and me, I want to talk about something new. So please take this one, biocomputing. Okay, biocomputing, using biological material for computing purposes that can enable a vast expansion of data storage using DNA as information medium. So, okay, let's talk about that. And I hope that the next time that we will meet, we will not only talk about IoT or blockchain companies, maybe we will talk about biocomputing companies in the maritime domain. I didn't hear yet. But I believe that technology is the tool, it's not the goal. And we have constantly to look for improvements and new services that are powered by technologies. But the important thing is to look for the outcome, what these technologies, these innovations can bring us. And I think that we shall look at that in a number of domains. Okay, we are looking for better sustainability in the ports. And we can do it in a number of solutions. We can do it by digital transformation. And the recent study that was published late last year of UN ESCAP, they say that the world trade digitalization potential CO2 emission savings can reach until 36 million tons of CO2, that is equivalent to about 1 billion trees. So digital transformation, it's in the maritime supply chain, it's a very important issue to deal with when you're talking about a better sustainability. And we have a number of startup companies that are dealing exactly with that, and part of them we will hear from them today, WebEL, Freightools, but there are others, and one of them that I can mention, it's AI Doc that automates paperwork-related tasks such as custom classification using AI. They call it a virtual employee, and they're a very interesting solution. We can talk about also physical solutions for sustainability, and there are also a number of interesting companies that startup companies in Israel that works in this domain. One of them is Eco Wave Power, that they are turning the ocean and sea waves into green electricity, and also eConcrete, that it's a technology for concrete, a new technology for concrete with some biological and environmental advantages. We talk about sustainability. Let's also talk about better efficiency, and better efficiency for a port. It can be in a number of aspects. The port's operation, but also the port's maintenance and the port's infrastructure construction. As I said, we are building ports, we are maintaining these ports, and so for that, we also want to be more efficient. Also, for these aspects, there are a number of Israeli companies that part of them we will hear about today. Snowless, Airobotics. I can also tell I just told you about the new 2 terminals that we recently, Israel Port has built, and they use Airobotics for the construction inspections of materials. And this is one of the possibilities that we use, but there are additional startup companies in this domain that, like DocTech, that they do continuous depth monitoring of ports and rivers, so they're helping with that. And Sierra, that they are enabling underwater vision, to better vision, mainly for the maintenance and building of ports. Another aspect that we shall look for innovation that can contribute to us, it's security and safety. Also here we have a number of companies. One of them is here today speaking, but also Orca AI that has the ship anti-collision system. And Windward, I don't know if we can still call them a startup, an advanced startup with advanced solutions in a lot of domains. And I think that they are a very great company. So as you see, I think that this ecosystem helps achieving great results. And we can see that in Israel, they call us the startup nation, and something that the Israeli Innovation Authority published recently. We have 8,000 high-tech companies in Israel, and you can see that they are in a lot of different aspects they deal with, from, of course, cyber and also transportation. And proudly, I can say, also with the help that they are mapping the maritime tech companies in Israel. We reached about 110 maritime tech company, and it's very fresh. This chart is from January this year. I think that you are the first ones that look at this chart. So if you ask me how Israel does it and how we do it, especially in ports, I want to have a quote of a great man, late president of Israel, that he said at the nearly age of 19 that he doesn't regret any of his dreams. His only regret is not having dreamed more. And in Israel, we dream big. And I think that this is, in one sentence, what we do. And I hope that you will enjoy seeing the solutions that the companies will show you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gadi, for this crisp and interesting overview and presentation. Yeah, thank you so much to the audience. We have a chat. Please feel free to type in questions here. Also to Gadi, later on we'll have some minutes to answer the questions, or the questions can be answered in the chat, or we make the connection to Gadi afterwards. Whatever will work best. And yeah, so please feel free to engage, type in the chat and approach us. Now let's get to the first panel. Welcome Nir. Hi Nir.
Thank you, Gadi, for mentioning us.
Yeah, so I will spotlight also Yoav
and Yotam.
Yotam. Hello, Yotam. Nice meeting you. Yoav. Okay, here we are. So, Nir, please, the stage is yours, and we are looking forward to your panel.
Thank you very much, Simon and Esther, for this gathering. And any audience questions are more than welcome. My name is Nir Gartzman, co-founder and managing partner at the Dock. We actively invest in startups targeting the ports, maritime and logistics sector. You will meet some of our portfolio later today. I'm very happy to host today two exciting companies, Snowless and Airobotics. We have here Yotam, VP BizDev at Airobotics, and Yoav, VP or Business Development Manager at Snowless. Please introduce yourself. Yoav, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so very happy to be here. And let's go straight to our presentation, if I may, and I will introduce you to our company and hope it will be very insightful. And Gadi, sorry for not being a biocomputing company, but let's hope you'll still be interested. So you can see my screen now, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So let's start with a statement. Roads know when it's too cold for them. They just couldn't tell us until now. My name is Yoav Gilboa, Business Development Manager at Snowless. And today I'm excited to share with you how Snowless is welcoming in the next generation of self-aware road around the world. Let's focus on ports. Global supply chain depends on ports' continuous operations. And extreme winter conditions pose logistic, operational, and safety hazards, resulting in higher costs. The two main phenomena that leads to these costs are firstly, snow and ice contribute to the port's congestion by reducing skid resistance and accessibility of paved roads, causing safety hazards to vehicles and operators. And secondly, thermal stress and improper asphalt mixes cause roads cracking and heavy load asphalt imprints, reducing infrastructure life cycle and increasing maintenance. How are these challenges addressed today? The most popular, plowing and salting, are manual, have long response times, damage the infrastructure, generates vehicle corrosion, environmental pollution, and ground contamination. So at Snowless, we asked ourselves, how can we transform passive roads into intelligent, self-aware, and active infrastructure? How can we hear when the road is telling us it's too cold? That's why at Snowless, we have introduced smart roads, the next generation of infrastructure. We have developed an autonomous, climate-resilient infrastructure technology. How does it work? The first step is detection of weather and surface conditions done by integrated sensors and local weather forecasts. The second step is real-time data analysis using our predictive algorithm-based control system. And finally, high-precision operation of our patented heating elements to mitigate the infrastructure hazards, snow and ice cracking, and frost heaving. We achieve this process with the unique combination of patented hardware and software. Ultra-robust amorphous alloy heating ribbons embedded in the infrastructure top layer, and remotely controlled software providing autonomous operation. The implementation is very simple. Snowless technology is seamlessly deployed into multiple surface applications, including high-temperature asphalt and standard heavy machinery paving, making Snowless the only system implemented in heavy-duty asphalt. What makes our team perfectly positioned to manage these innovative projects? Snowless is a consortium consisting of 4 leading global players, each contributing their domain expertise. Sun, engineering company based in Israel, HSI, heating solution manufacturer based in the Netherlands, VSV, an international road safety corporation based in Germany, and the Danish Technical University. The consortium is funded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. The synergy between the 4 partners has already resulted in many successful implementations across applications. All of the 4 partners were involved in managing implementation of our technology in diverse applications, from loading docks to pedestrian walkways and highways to hospitals. Let's visit 2 of our installation sites. In 2019, Snowless was installed in an asphalt service road in Copenhagen, and the system began on collecting data. The following winter, this information enabled us to create a predictive weather-based model which can be used everywhere. For example, in a planned project in Canada, Snowless system successfully predicted future cracking event. 1 hour of activated heating mitigates low temperature cracking. A successful commercial application executed in 2020 spans over 2,000 square meters of heavy loading dock in a state custom logistic port. Analyzing real weather data, Snowless system was able to efficiently mitigate the annual accumulated snow with just €2 per square meter worth of energy consumption. This potentially eliminates the need for plowing and salting operation, replacing it with automatic real-time snow and ice mitigation. Efficient electricity consumption powered by renewable sources leads to reduced emission and thus lowering carbon footprint. So, if you could listen to your local infrastructure, what would it be telling you? I invite you to share with us how can we solve your port's winter challenges. Thanks.
Thank you, Yoav. Insightful, and I will be happy to hear from the audience later on to share their challenges around the cracks and infrastructure in ports and all around the supply chain. Yotam, the floor is yours to present how Airobotics is solving some of the challenges of the stakeholders in the ecosystem. So
thank
please.
you. Thank you, Neil, and thanks, Yoav. I think, wow, really impressive stuff. And look, first of all, I want to say thank you to this amazing panel, and thank you to Simon and Ester. It's a real honor for me to present here. I tried to minimize our usual presentation a bit because we often come with these elaborate videos and examples of the models that we produce and post-processing and the whole process. I tried to keep it very brief today in light of the short time we have. My name is Yotam. I'm Vice President of Airobotics Business Development, and we do operations for port safety, security, and operations using automated drones. The system is essentially made of 2 parts, a docking station and a drone. The system itself is not mobile, and once it's deployed, it is robust enough to operate in all types of weather. It's very weather resilient, and as soon as it is deployed, it can conduct 24/7 operations and can swap between multiple payloads. So essentially, whether it's a delivery mission, tracking mission, a video mission, or any type of other monitoring, the system itself does not need to be physically handled at all. And we like to say that we specialize in letting our operators come with a cup of coffee to their screen, click launch on a mission, and sit back and monitor. Airobotics is currently operational in 4 countries globally: in Houston, Texas, in Israel where our headquarters are, Dubai, and Singapore. And the whole concept of operation, as I said earlier, is to deploy the system in a central location within a dock. In this case, the Dubai Jebel Ali port, and to be able to cover with a single system the full extent or the full range of the port itself. So you don't need several drones, you don't need to move anywhere with the drone, and you don't need a remote control. All you need is our interface and the screen. The system can carry anything up to 2 kilos, but these are our top 5 payloads. We do 2D and 3D mapping, so very high resolution photogrammetry orthophotos. We generate LiDAR point clouds using LiDAR payload that allows us to do both night mapping as well. We have thermal and electro-optic video that can be changed while in midair, so we can swap between them. And lastly, we do emergency response delivery, but for all we care, we can deliver sushi if you'd like as well. It doesn't matter.
I think there is a technical issue on Yotam's side, right?
So please, let's continue with.
Hi guys, I'm back. Would you like me to continue, or do you want?
Oh, please, Yotam.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll wrap up my presentation because I see I have some connectivity issues. So I'll try and do it quickly. We have fully automated applications that focus either on remote monitoring, mapping or surveying, or inspection and analysis. We do everything from perimeter security, emergency response and delivery, remote supervision and safety supervision, and all the way to construction monitoring for different land reclamation projects, as well as pipeline inspection or technical inspection of different items on the docks or on the ports. To summarize, I do have one use case that I wanted to discuss of a land reclamation process that we worked on here in Israel for a duration of 7 months. We operated 24/7 on a regular basis, helping the reclamation team, first of all, survey the reclamation areas, second of all, to monitor the different construction process across the port, and lastly, to monitor the stockpile measurements within that specific port. Due to a time limitation, I'll wrap up. The main advantages to Seaport operations are the fact that we operate 24/7 for both security and safety purposes, high level of accuracy, efficiency, and resolution, and lastly, aerial mapping of previously inaccessible areas, and maybe most importantly, cost reduction through the automation of different processes. So we work to integrate with other stakeholders on site and the clients themselves to try and give as much convenience as possible to the end user. That's it. Thank you, and sorry for the troublesome internet that we seem to be facing here in my area.
Thank you, Yotam. By the way, during your project with the reclamation project here in Haifa Bay, we could see your drones from our offices here and there. It was very impressive use case of robotics in the port infrastructure sector. Yoav, in order to stimulate the discussion with the participants here from Germany, please share with us, I heard in the preparation meeting that we held about your activity with a company from Germany. I believe the name is VSV. About going to the market together in Germany. Please share with us about this project and how it's going.
Yeah. So as I said, we are a consortium of 4 partners, each giving its own expertise to our efforts in bringing our technology to its proper place. And VSV is our local European partner. They are a big company of safety solution for roads and infrastructure, and they're working all over Europe with a lot of experience with working with clients and successful implementation. And they are giving us the experience in putting the project in the ground, or boots on the ground, as we like to say. So it's a great adventure and benefit for us as a company to have such an experienced partner in our consortium.
Interesting. And before we going into maybe questions from the audience, Yotam, you mentioned the activity here about monitoring the port infrastructure, building, etc. If we are a port operator or port authority in Germany, what are the steps need to be taken in order to implement Airobotics solution, from all the way from regulatory to business processes to make it happen together on a new country with Airobotics?
So the regulation question is always a difficult one because it's different for every country and it's challenging in different ways for every country. We have a regulation team that specializes in creating that relationship and working hand in hand with the regulator to get the regulatory approvals. We've done that in Singapore, Australia, Israel, and now Dubai, where we were the first ones to obtain approvals to get beyond visual line of sight flights for every one of these. And we'd like to do the same for Germany as well. And regarding implementation of the system, the deployment takes a few days, up to 1 week of deployment. And then there's an integration process or a calibration process of each different mission. So let's say you want a perimeter security mission that's different than a mapping mission that may be more intricate. But generally speaking, within roughly 1 month, once the system is calibrated, we hand over to the client and we don't press the launch button anymore. They press the launch and they do everything automatically and autonomously without our support.
Impressive. One last question in the last couple of minutes that we had for this panel. Yoav, please share with us what will be a good outcome from your side from this presentation and panel, and please address the German partners that here on the webinar with us.
Yeah, so this is exactly the question that we are here for. We are now at the end of our, we have a successful R&D process and we have a lot of implementation, and we are now looking for our next step. And our next step is focused on heavy duty asphalt, and ports are a very good place for us to implement our system, because we know that ports, especially ports in northern countries, suffer from the problem that we have shown. Not only snow and ice, melting of snow and ice, also frost heaving and cracking prevention. And we know by speaking with the relevant stakeholders from ports ecosystem that those problems are real, and we are the first company, as far as we know, that can solve in a smart and intelligent way these problems and eliminate the needs of old solutions like salting and plowing, and bring, as I said, the next generation of smart technology of heating to infrastructures. So if someone from the port ecosystem, from the audience, can be a gate for us for implementation in ports, this is a very good connection to us.
Thank you. Yotam, the same? We have 1 minute left for the
yeah, so from my perspective, I think it would be great to find the one partner to kick off operations with in Germany. I think it's always been our experience in new territories that we need the right kind of place for a proof of concept and to demonstrate our capabilities, and from there to go on to additional partners around the territory. So we're looking for that innovative port, that port that's seeking to expand their operations from an aviation perspective and to find a more automated way to run things. And I would love it if that man or woman are in the audience and can help us get to that point. I'll just mention this briefly, that I'll be in Germany for the next few days. I'm flying out tomorrow, so I'd be very happy to meet with anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Yotam and Yoav, for taking the time.
Thank you, Neil.
Panel. And Simon, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Neil. It was a pleasure to listen. And yeah, there's a question in the audience to Yotam. Maybe you can answer it in the chat right now. And so without any further ado, let's jump to our second panel. And a warm welcome to Sven from the Hamburg Port Consulting. It's a pleasure to have you. And just a second. So Sven, you're here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly well.
Very good.
So I ask everyone from the second panel to open their cameras, and then I can bring you to the stage. Adam, Tomer, and Yuval. So Adam, welcome. Tomer,
hello.
Welcome. And Yuval.
Hello.
All right. So please, Sven, the floor is yours. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you very much for having me. I'm really honored to be part of this meeting today. You know, I'm looking out of my window here in Dubai. I'm on a conference in Dubai. I'm looking for the drones flying around. I haven't seen them yet, Yotam, but I will have a closer look now while I speak to you. My name is Sven Daniels. I'm partner at HPC. Simon called me a veteran. So this is true. 30 years of experience in our industry. I started with software engineering in the early 90s. And I came through a lot of automation projects around the world, and also digitalizations and digital transformation projects also around the world. You know, HPC is a subsidiary of HHLA, which is the biggest operator at the port of Hamburg. Not the only one, but the biggest, and a very innovative company. So they invented very many things like automated terminals. The first one was built by HHLA in Hamburg, and this was the reason why HPC was founded 45 years ago to market the know-how that is generated in the port of Hamburg into the world. And so this is my job, and I'm in this job for 30 years because it never gets boring. So, and although I'm surrounded by very young people here, which is good, I am truly a veteran, and I'm looking forward to my speakers here. And I think the first one is starting off is Tomer with WaveBL, and then we'll followed by Yuval by STI, and then Adam with Freightools. So I think we can. I would like to hand it over to Tomer right now, who's the first starting to give his presentation. Thank you for being here, Tomer. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sven. Thank you, Gadi. Thank you, all the others. And thank you, Simon, of course, and to having us here, and to all the participants. I hope you enjoyed, and you will enjoy. Continue to enjoy. I will share my screen with you. 1 second. Sorry. Can you see my screen right now with the presentation?
Yes.
You can see also the second slide. 1 second. Sorry. I'm sorry. Always. Great. Okay. It doesn't matter how many times you do it before, you still. Yes, sorry, my mistake. I apologize. So my name is Tomer Lukacs. I need to work on my Zoom presentation, sorry. So my name is Tomer Lukacs. I'm Director of Business Development and Head of Sales of WaveBL. I will present a very short presentation about our solution and about our product, and I'll be happy to answer questions later. So a little bit about WaveBL. Our founders came from a trade family, and they sit down and they saw that they take a look at the process, and they realize that there's a lot of documentation and there's a lot of obstacle. And one of the obstacle is that people are still using paper when they use their original bill of lading. Okay, as I said, we talk about the documentation, and we saw that the bill of lading, the paper bill of lading, is an obstacle. We can see that it's very complicated when we use it in the business flow. It's required a physical interaction, time consuming, it's risky, it can be lost. When it can be lost, it's very risky because it can cost you a lot of money. The process is very slow, and it's very, very expensive. Regarding this, I would like to add that also it can be forged. Everyone knows that there's a lot of false documentation when you take a look about the documentation in the train industry. Our solution talk about digitalization. WaveBL is a blockchain-based digital courier platform that mirrors the traditional process for transferring original paper documents electronically. When we take a look at the situation, we know that our solution gives the opportunity to make transaction and to send the bill of lading, the original, it's a documents of title, actually the original documents from one trade partner to the other trade partner in a couple of minutes in a highly secured network and way. If we take a look at the workflow, and this is a workflow that's everyone familiar with, we see that the trade can take the trade of the paper, just the transaction. When you send it today, when you use the paper, it can take between 10 to 14 days. When you take a look at Wave solution, because it's electronic bill of lading, the solution can take, the trade can be up to 8 minutes. So this is something that's a huge advantage by using the electronic bill of lading. It's very organized, very easy, few clicks just to send the documentation from one entity to the others. You cannot lose it. You decrease the risk by losing the bill of lading, and it's very, very fast. A little bit about our situation today, our position. So we work with 4 top carriers, and you can see right now, we work with MSC, ZIM, Hapag-Lloyd, and ONE. All 4 are already adopted our solution. They work with our solution in daily basis. They make interaction with their customers and invite them to onboard and to join the electronic bill of lading solution who created by Wave. Until today, only 2021, we made more than 100,000 EBLs issuances. It means that it's almost 500,000 trade transactions. And if you look at our growth, it's 20% a month. This is a very, very short, of course, information about our solution. I call each and every trade partners. It doesn't matter if you're freight forwarders, logistic companies, NVOCC, importers, exporters. You all I will be more than happy if you will join us, and we'll help you with this. And I believe that once you will work with our solution, you will not go back to paper. And this is needless to say that it's, if you take a look at the green work and sustainability, it's something that we need to think about. And last sentence, if from my perspective, each and every trade partners, when we take a look, and Gadi mentioned it before, we take a look about the digital transformation that took place in other industries. This is the time for the maritime industry to adopt the electronic bill of lading and to work in a fast and secure way that will influence all the process. Thank you very much, Sven, and thank you, the audience.
Thank you, Tomer. Very interesting, very exciting. We talk about some details and questions later. Now we will move on to Yuval, who is then our next presenter. Yuval.
Hello all.
Yuval, you will not use the camera, right?
No, unfortunately my camera is not working. So excuse me for that. So we'll have the presentation.
Good.
All right. So just a short question, a short sentence about STI. Our company exists for the last 20 years. I'm the CEO of the company, and we are dealing with 4 different lines of system and actually developing sensors to different, let's say, parts of for the vehicle industry, for the security industry, water industry, and also for the ports. 2 of our system is already operational in sales, and the port system that we are talking about today is actually on the R&D stages. And I'll share with you, and we can talk about it. All right. First of all, when we looked at ports, we know that you have approximately 200 million, maybe over that, containers that cross from one port to another a year. This number is growing. And when we look at the numbers, although some will say 2 to 3% of those containers are being checked. And when I'm saying checked, it's from X-ray, gamma, until opening the container with custom people and policemen. If we're going to look good in the papers, we're going to see that approximately 1% is actually physically being checked, and the rest is some kind of profiling. Since the Americans have started to obligate everybody to check 100% of the containers, we say 100% of those containers are being checked, but literally it's not true. 99% is profiling. What we've done, we looked at the ports and we think we understood why the world is stuck on this 1% or 2% of physically check. And the reason is because countries look at those ports as the gateway into and outside of the country. Therefore, they put the containers on the dock and start checking those containers on the dock. What we have decided to do with our solution is to move the location of checking those containers to the crane itself, meaning we moved a lot of sensors to the crane, and from the time we collect the container from the boat until we put it on the dock, we check with those sensors a lot of information. We cross-check it with the BOL, with the manifest of the boat, and with global database that's going to be built with time. And until the time we place it on the dock, we decide whether we have some kind of an anomaly, and decided whether we send this container to the X-ray, gamma, or any other physically check. So we don't need to use this random issue. I saw in the beginning with Gadi's presentation that they actually place our system as security. while security, as we see it, is the last thing. The first thing and the most important thing is operation, then custom, and last one is security, actually. Because the amount of container that we will be able to check is actually all the containers that are going to cross from the boat to the dock, and by the way, it could be from the dock to the boat as well, are going to be checked. So we're talking about moving to almost 100% of physically checked containers. This is in very short thing, just to give an example of this issue. A lot of empty containers are moving from one port to another. And those empty containers might be a big problem because there is a saying that if I will be able to place something in an empty container, it will get to the other side. And our system, because we weight, for example, the container at the crane, the net weight of the container. And in our information, we have the actual weight of the container when it's empty. And if the BOL or the manifest of the boat says this container is empty, we can find a very small amount that's going to be placed inside the container and say this container is not really empty. In Israeli ports, the last information we saw, the mistake is approximately 500 kilogram per container. And the reason is because in most ports we have deal with, those containers are being scaled with a truck and reducing the weight of the truck. Therefore, it's not really accurate. More than that, we will be able to collect all this data. So as we said, the empty containers is actually when it's without any goods inside, we don't really know where they are. So right now, when we get to a port, we know only the last place this container came from. We don't know multiple places before that. Our system will be able to collect all this data. And eventually, if we like to say, let's say 10 times ago, we want to know if a container been to, I don't know, North Korea, Syria, or I don't know, Iran. And we're going to see a company in our country that is actually ordering containers from, let's say, Germany, the US, or Brazil. But one thing in common, that 10 times ago, those containers been on those places, we actually, maybe those containers move from one place to another without getting opening the container, just replacing documents. So they're going to try to hide underneath something that they are not. So we can go with this presentation for hours, all right? Multiple issues to be issued here. And the point is that we can do everything faster, especially, by the way, with the company that spoke before me about the digital bill of lading, which is going to be actually help us reading the data and comparing this data. More than that, we can add any additional sensor. Our system is an open platform for sensors. So the profiling you already have, you can give a grade to this profiling, and we can add it to the calculation whether we're going to have an alarm, yes or no, in a way that we're going to get to a level of like combine. We're going to give, let's say like this, we're going to give different things generate an alarm. First of all, calculation of impossible location on time, whether we know where the containers should be, or we can see multiple containers with the same number in different location. We can find whether the container is at 20 feet or 40 feet comparing to the number and cross-check the number with the actual size. Generate calculation of combined parameters, whether neither of the parameter gave us an alarm by itself, but combined parameters will generate an alarm. And containers that mismatch with the database or the global database, and so on. That's about it. It's a very, eventually it should be a system that's going to save us a lot of time in processing the containers reaching the ports, with processing the custom issue, and eventually also security. Sven?
Okay. Thank you very much, Rob. That was very interesting. We come back to questions, I guess, again later, so that we can move on to Adam now, who is working for Freightools and is our final presenter for this session, this panel. So Adam, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Sven. Thank you, everyone, for having us. My name is Adam Yaron from Freightools. Let me just share my screen real quick. Let me know if you can see my screen okay. All right, I believe that you can see it.
Yes, yes, it's there, Adam.
All right, perfect. So thank you so much for having us again. My name is Adam Yaron. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fast Applications Ltd. Fast stands for Freight Advanced Service Technology. We are part of the doc as well, and together with the WaveVL and other. Thank you, Gadi, also for presenting us before, and thank you, Nir, and everyone for having us here. So our product name is Freightools. Our company is incorporated in Israel since 2016, and this is the tool that we are building. We are building actually a white label solution for freight forwarders that wants to become digital. We believe that the next, let's say, step in the freight forwarding industry is towards digitization, direct digitization, where the shippers and consignee would like to buy freight online, track and trace their cargo, and of course have everything online, just like with the paperless that we just spoke before, and the WaveVL that is also creating a paperless digital solution for the BL's documentation. But still now, today, 2021, we can still have a situation where one single shipment is actually being handled by 30 independent parties, 100 people, 150 pieces of paper, and 200 information exchanges that are related to a single shipment. That's the current situation today. And if we're looking at visibility, most of the shippers in the world, means the importers and exporters, looking now as visibility capabilities as crucial in order to manage their business. A lot of importers and exporters around the world adding buffers on their production lines or assembly lines that cost them millions of euros due to lack of visibility and real-time tracking of their cargo. And this causes a monetary loss from poor supply chain visibility in transportation disruption, service delays, long production cycles, deterioration and cargo theft, and of course, missing customer expectation and customer trust. Now, the old way of doing business between the shipper and the freight forwarder is where the shipper needs to do everything manually, ask for the quote manually, ask where is the container manually, waiting for the booking, send all the information by email, documents, Excel sheets, whatever. We are actually creating a better solution for freight forwarders that wants to become digital and to act like Flexport, because this is what we believe is the expectation on the importers and exporters of the world. Same as us, we are, as business people, we are travel around the world, and we, back in, 20 years ago, we were used to contacting a travel agency in order to buy a flight ticket. Today, we just go to any one of the websites that offers flying tickets, and we can book it online. Same thing is what we believe shippers expect to have in the freight forwarding industry and supply chain. And our competitive edge is that Freightools is the only end-to-end white label platform for multimodal digital freight forwarders. There are other companies around the world that are offering white label solution for digital freight forwarders, but those are only limited for one modality, like containers only, LCL only, air only, etc. We are the only tool out there today that is able to provide both trucking, ocean freight, air freight, LCL, and any other like rail freight and even drone freight in the future to our freight forwarders. We are also increasing the quote to book ratio and can achieve a return on investment in just 6 months. And this is when calculating on a company with a base of 500 bookings average per month. And we have one platform that is across all carriers. Now, instead of following with this presentation, I will just, I want to show you a real live system that we are now doing. I will show you a couple of examples. And the first one will be, let's take this one. I want to show you how, for example, a company like ThyssenKrupp that is very much familiar, you know, in our aspect in Israel, in German, you know, conversation over here. I think that ThyssenKrupp was one of the companies that was in the headlines in Germany and in Israel. And I can show you, for example, how ThyssenKrupp is using our system. So as you can see here on the map, those are live shipments that they can track and trace on one map. If I click on any one of those dots, I see exactly what is the shipment number, what is the equipment, voyage, and where it's located, what is the status. Is he departed or arrived or delivered? For example, the third one here is arrived, etc., etc. Of course, they can look on the level of the SKUs, and they can also have advanced searching capabilities. Like, for example, I want to see everything that is expected to arrive in the next week, all right? So I want to see only the shipments that are expected to arrive on the next week, and I can click on any one of the shipments, and I can see exactly where he is in order to control my predictive ETA and to see what is the current situation of each and every one of my shipments. We are also creating some dedicated solution for our customers. This is an example of All Forward is a digital brand of the biggest freight forwarder in Israel. And if I'll go and I'll just search, for example, Ningbo to Lexos, we can search for the price from any point to any point in the world, even to the door of the customer or to the door of the importer. And as you can see here, I have the transit duration and the departure, and of course the possibility to book now, placing my shipper and consignee, and I can immediately book online. If I want to track and trace my cargo, I can simply click here on the track and trace, and I can see all of the shipments on one list. If I want, I can click on any one of the shipments. This, for example, is a shipment that represents shipment that arrived 7 days early, but this is something that has departed 2 days in delay. And if I click on it, I can see the actual position of the container with all the milestones and the expected stages that is going to travel in the next days. Of course, I have the shipper, consignee, documentation, pricing, and check. Everything that I need in order to communicate with my forwarders, paperless, online, providing us with the best service. As I mentioned, we have white label solutions. So for example, this is ShipEmotion, a digital brand of the biggest freight forwarder in Bulgaria, Unimasters. And this is another UI, user interface or user experience. For example, here I will look for Ningbo. I don't know why I like so much Ningbo port. I always use it in my demos. But this is, for example, Ningbo to the door in Sofia. And I just search for example, I just search for a rate from the port up to the door of the importer. And of course, I can get several options to bring my cargo, one via the port of Burgas, another one via the port of Varna. And of course, I can filter by the cheapest, fastest, greenest, or optimal. The greenest option we actually calculate according to the combination between the trucking and the vessel feeders, is it using trains, and the CO2 emission of every one of the mode transport that the shipment is expected to be using. And that's in overall, we have a limited amount of time, so I don't want to take the time from other speakers as well. But in really short sentence, this is Freightools. We are actually providing to also some of the biggest shippers and consignees in the world solutions. We're working together with Sedapta Group that is also working in Germany. And we are working now for Piaggio, that is the owner of Vespa, Calcedonia, Tezenis, Intimissimi. So if there is any importer or exporter out there that wants to digitize their services and have more digital experience in front of their freight forwarders or carriers, please feel free to contact us. And also, if you're a freight forwarder that's looking to digitize for your customers, we are here for up to the task. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Adam. Very interesting. I saw a proof that you're working on actual data when looking at your freight rates, because they are quite impressive. So thank you. Very, very, very interesting. You know, for the audience, of course, we prepared this meeting a little bit. We talked to one each other before we really met here. And of course, I asked the panelists to, well, what is the subject to be discussed? So this may be the chance to start a short discussion before we moved into questions from the audience. And I have one slide that I would like to share with you, and just to initiate the discussion. And this is an analysis that we recently did at HPC regarding where we are in the ports and shipping industry. And you see this orange bar showing that we are far behind in comparison to other industries. And which is the good news is that the green bar shows how much growth is there the amount of potential is there to grow. And you know, this little sentence now, new startups create disruptive business models. This is what we see here. So this is what we see here, and so there's a good reason why we are where we are in the moment. And I would like to ask all three of my panelists: is it how hard it is to get into our industry in comparison maybe to others, if you can say? I mean, is there a specific problem to find customers, to find the applications in our industry? Maybe in the sequence of the presenters, maybe Tomer, what do you think? Is it hard? Is it easy? So is the growth rate that we can expect from this graph that we see, is it rather steep or is it rather low?
Okay, thank you, Sven. It's a great question because I deal with this question and I see it every day, every single day. Until today, we've been discussion, of course, with so many importers, I mean, like I said, with NVOCC from the top NVOCC carriers, BCOs, etc. So one of the things that we saw, because immediately everyone would like to adopt a digitized solution. We spoke here, Gadi spoke about it, Adam spoke about each person that's in this panel and the other panel spoke about the digital transformation. But we see something, I can say, fear and comfort zone. This is two things that people afraid to adopt something new. They're afraid to get out from their comfort zone because this is something that they're doing more than 40 years, more than 100 years. The grandfather work with paper. Okay, I'm speaking from Wave BL perspectives. Okay, so it's something that's and that's why we give to our customers not 14 days and not 21 days. We give them 90 days, 3 months to start to onboard, to try to work on with Wave, to start with adopt a digitized solution. We know it's in some occasion you see customers that work already, as you said, in other industries in a digital way. They work with their iPhone, they work with other SaaS platforms, but I don't know how they're still afraid. But once they touch and they start to do it and they use it, they immediately understand that first you cannot stop from innovation process. You cannot stop. It will be there. If it's not today, it will be there tomorrow. And second, it's improve your quality of life, for example, because you don't need to look for papers to find a new bill of lading or something from a year ago. If someone asks you, just click the number of the bill of lading and you can find it immediately. And I'm sure in other platforms, you just click what you're looking for. And more than this, the risk by losing a bill of lading, original documents, original paper, and to know that You can go, you can work whatever you want. You have all the information because it's a SaaS platform environment. It's amazing, but it takes time. We need to educate the industry.
Thank you, Tomer. I agree. I hear a lot the word comfort zone and traditional industry. We've been shipping goods for 10,000 years, so this is probably the reason. Yuval, coming from your more the sensor and hardware side, how is the situation for you?
More or less the same. Conservative, I think, this world of shipping and ports, very conservative, and change takes a lot of time. Like they're always interested, but then there's a lot of concern on changing something in the process. But I'm sure when we're going to get in, they're going to ask why we didn't do it before.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially in the field of operations and terminals and ports, I think those new technology, to implement those new technologies very often call for a big change management program. This is what people are afraid of. And in many cases, they shouldn't be that much, but I agree with that.
Sven, think that the three companies that right now with you, between the three of us, how much time we can save in the whole process.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
crazy, all right?
That's crazy. Adam, your view on that?
Yeah, so I think that I was feeling the same way until 2020. I think that last year was the big change point in terms of the freight forwarders and overall the understanding of the need of digitization in our industry. And I can tell you, in my opinion, there are two reasons that the COVID situation is brought with. One is the work from home situation. You know, if 3 years before it was okay for you as a freight forwarder to work on a software that is 20-year-old, today in the new age of work from home, of smart working, it's really hard to connect your employees to this 20-year-old computer software that is actually installed on your, on-premise in your offices, and you need VPN, you need IT guys in order to connect them. So there is a lot of, a wider understanding of why we need digital transformation at the moment in our industry. And the second point is the fact that actually the freight forwarder are earning more. So the freight rate has been, I think, in one point in the COVID, 20 times or 10 times more than what was like 3 years ago. If a single container from China to Israel was cost around $2,000, it was a point where it arrived also to $20,000, and there was still 10 importers that were fighting on the same container. So this has created, the margin of the freight forwarder has remained the same, 15, 20%, but in overall 15% out of $20,000 in front of $2,000 are a big difference. So that is also create in their eyes the opportunity to invest more in digital transformation. And I think that this will drive more and more players to the digital transformation and the digital age in the next, I think, 1 or 2 years.
So there's something good of the pandemic, right? With all the evil, this is a.
At the beginning, it was a disaster.
I just want to add something that don't forget that until the COVID, until the pandemic, people come to work. I mean, in the maritime industry, they come to the office and then they go back home. And when you work in a digital solution, you have the opportunity to work from anywhere. You have the opportunity. That's when you're in quarantine. And we take a look at each one of us. We have kids, and even if your kid is at home and you need to continue to work, you can sit down at home, open your user password, your computer user password, and continue to make transaction of bill of lading, of electronic bill of lading from one entity to the others. So this is a huge difference.
This is true. Thank you, guys. The pandemic, is an accelerator for sure. In these cases, I often quote a former boss of mine who said, Sven, if we don't do it, others do it for us. And I think this is a good word to close this session. Of course, the digital transformation will happen with or without us. So we rather should embrace it and embrace new technologies as others industries did before. So thank you for your presentations and for your very open discussions and answers. Simon, back to you. Thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sven. Thank you very much for moderating this panel. Now let's come to a final discussion. Esther, you wanted to ask a question. Please go ahead while I add our other speakers to the final discussion panel.
Thank you. So following the last panel discussion and the question was raised by Sven, I was wondering, because Germany is having such a huge process of digitalization, and we heard some unique and very innovative solutions today. So I was wondering, what would be your golden advice or golden tip for these companies and others that would like to work with the ports, but in general with Germany? How to implement better, how to overcome the cultural differences, or whatever you can give us.
Is that a question to me?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
I think Gadi said it in his presentation. Gadi, thank you for that. We have to invite these people. You said we have to help them building startups, to get closer to our industry, to really understand. Because especially the younger generation, I have kids of 22 and 26. They grew up with digital solutions. They don't understand what we are doing. If my daughter is looking at my process and our process, she says, "What is this?" Because it's so normal that they have an iPhone. But our industry is very complex. The supply chain industry is very complex. So don't get me wrong. A change is a very big thing to do. But of course, it will come. As I said, in no way. We cannot avoid and we don't want to avoid, and we can see fantastic examples like the EBL. It's fantastic. It's really great. So what I think what many companies, operators, ports already does is to invest into universities, into rooms where people can meet and talk to professionals from our industry. Really understand the needs. It's not the big picture. What a digital solution brings in is normally the solution of a very specific problem. A very specific problem. Look at Yuval's presentation. Is a very specific, very small, but very significant problem. So without knowing this, we will not get together and we will not be successful. And this is what I see with all these panelists. You guys approach and embrace this market because it's very exciting. I'm in this industry for 30 because it's so exciting. But we have to invite the people to be with us and really discuss and give them the chance to develop. This is my answer.
Thank you very much, Sven, for this. Actually, if I may add one sentence here, this was also from our side the idea of this event. We noted that there are many solutions for different aspects of this hub in the ports and the supply chain in general, and it's very complex. And the question is where to penetrate this web of solutions. And we were very happy to have you from Hamburg Port Consulting, who have somewhat a bigger picture here. But maybe we can do a last round of statements on what your expectations and maybe also wishes are, because we are here for promoting this innovation, and we want to create this network that can enable the implementation of future solutions, and also solutions that simply solve some pains. So also to the audience again, we want to we want to engage with you. We want to have exchanges, and we want to have a follow-up. This can only be a kickoff here today of a discussion. Of course, if there will be opportunities for pilots for companies, this will be a great outcome, and then we can also, or the companies will also spread the word of further Israeli solutions. But yeah, maybe we can have a last round of statements, maybe starting and as we started this event today with Gadi.
Again, thank you for a very interesting session. I always also learn a lot and additional solutions. What I can say, it's, Sven talked about that, about the things that are hard in our industry, but we have to take into our consideration that it's a change management. Getting innovation, it's a full-time job that we have to spend the time at the port industry for that. This is my...
Thank you very much. And we have a question from the audience, or rather a statement, that there's the impression that a lot of the solutions kind of lack an understanding of the real world, that you should visit real companies, walk in their shoes and try to customize. Of course, I think this is this is also an invitation. And so if there will be these opportunities, just approach us and we can make the connections here. And I think all the companies will be very happy to come in here. Nir, you want to continue on this topic?
I want to refer to Evelyn and mention that this is exactly the challenge and the opportunity. Many innovative entrepreneurs come with bold ideas to reshape industries. And while the Israeli vibrant ecosystem is really good in 0 to 1 to initiate new ideas, there is a great opportunity for collaboration with the sound industrial sector of Germany to serve as a launchpad, as early adopters of technologies for the future of Europe and the entire world. And this requires openness from both sides. I can attest that at least from the founder's side that I met here and there in Israel, there is always openness to learn new stuff. And we will be very happy to witness the same openness from German corporates. And I believe it will be a win-win collaboration for all stakeholders involved.
I would like to add, thank you, Nir. I would like to add something from my point of view, Simon, regarding Nir and Gadi, of course, and the question by Esther is that, and people ask you, I saw about the government support. So from my perspective is that, and I hope that other participants can agree with me, that's innovation and it's not in one day, okay, to make a transformation, okay, it's not in one day, and it's not only about the shipping line companies or the port or the NVOCC or freight forwarders, etc. It depends of everyone. We take a look at the whole ecosystem, and when we make a digital transformation, it will affect each and every person, each and every part, each and every stakeholders in the process, including the person who bought his sofa and is waiting for his sofa right now to receive it from IKEA or whatever, okay? Because it's will affect everyone, including the government, regarding tax issues, and improve all the process. So I hope that in 2022 we will see more and more shippers, consignee, NVOCC. I'm sorry, I forgot something. Carriers. I mean, all the organizations, including the government, to adopt, to push, and not to be afraid of this transformation.
Okay, we are very close to the end of this session. I would like to thank you all now. I think this was a very interesting kickoff that both showed that there are very interesting and innovative solutions, and the complexity of this network of stakeholders, as we called it in the title of this event. And we are very much looking forward to engage in further discussion with the audience and with you guys. And it was, it was a great learning for me and us as well. And yeah, we are looking forward to the next steps. And I wish you all a nice afternoon, wherever you are, Israel, Dubai, Germany, Europe, Canada, and we'll be in touch soon. Goodbye from Berlin.